I'm just taking a break on my bike ride in about the most opposite kind of a location from what I'm going to talk about, which is how to use AI, or more specifically, how I use AI for teaching English. I try to avoid it a lot of the time because my thinking is that if you're using AI, if everything you do is AI, then why not just replace yourself? And ultimately, then your student will say, well, if I'm doing everything with AI, then why do I need a teacher? And why do I need to pay you? Yeah, kind of existential. So instead, this is how I use it. I use AI specifically for three different students. And how I use it is just very basic. I'm using ChatGPT. One of my students, he's training, or he wants to be a police interpreter, to interpret between police and foreign suspects, foreigners arrested by the cops. We all have a dream. So I don't have any materials specifically for that, and my Japanese is not good enough to train him as an interpreter. That's very high level. So what I do with ChatGPT is I say to ChatGPT, I prompt it, say, give me 10 key pieces of vocabulary that an interpreter for Chiba Prefectural Police might need to interpret between a policeman and suspect in English. It gives me those 10 keywords, things like suspect, right to remain silent, things like that. And then I say, okay, please turn that into a role play between a policeman and a suspect being arrested. It does that. And then I say, okay, now make the policeman say those words in Japanese and the foreigner say it in English. Okay, now do the same again. This time make the policeman say the words in Japanese and the foreigner say it in Japanese. Sorry, the other way around. The policeman say it in English and the foreigner say it in Japanese. So I've got two scripts for the same role play. Therefore, I can then get him to, I say, okay, now please translate what the policeman says. I can't read the Japanese, but he can, and I can read the English translation. So I can then check whether he's doing it right or not. As far as I can with ChatGPT, but it's pretty, I wouldn't say reliable, but it's pretty good. And then we can swap around. So you can either do it interpreting from Japanese into English, or then from English into Japanese. And that works pretty well. And I can modify what I tell ChatGPT. And anyway, I print that out on pieces of paper and I use that in class. It's that simple. And it's pretty good. And it's something that I wouldn't be able to do, or not very easily without ChatGPT. So that's one thing. Another lady I have is, she's very interested in Japanese tea ceremony. Another thing I know next to nothing about. So very similar, I'll use ChatGPT to give me some key vocabulary and then put that into a role play, translate it into English, and then I can test her on it, or we can play role play. She can explain the different terminology and stuff. So it's good. And the final one is I have a girl who's going off to America to study English. So again, I tell ChatGPT, give me 10 keywords or 15 keywords, vocabulary words, put them in a role play, and I have the ChatGPT get sort of like role playing, being in a class, being in a politics class, being in an English class, being how to talk to people in your dormitory, that kind of thing. Now, it's pretty good, and I wouldn't say I rely on ChatGPT, and I'm using it to provide me with the core materials so that I can then go into the lesson. But then I have to do the role play, they have to do the role play, and I can adapt it and change it and do things that maybe ChatGPT wouldn't think of, or I could criticize ChatGPT or say, well, actually, I think this slang is a bit out of date, or this slang is very youthful. I've never heard it before. So, yeah, it's useful in that way. I've also used it for artwork and stuff, for illustrating textbooks. I'm going to cut back from that. In fact, that might be a subject for another topic, a topic for another video, how not to use AI and why not to use it too much. Yeah, I'll do that next. Suffice to say that, you know, you do what you want with AI. It's useful, but just bear in mind you've got to make money from it. And if you're completely replacing everything that you do with AI, then that's kind of counterproductive. Then you're telling your students, you don't need a teacher, you just need AI. I would never say such a thing. So use it sparingly, I would suggest, or find ways to use it that enhance your lesson, not detract from being a teacher. Okay, that's it. Thank you. This little enclave of peace and quiet is Shiga Naoya's little tea house. It's a good place to stop on my weekly bike ride. Whew, right. Peace.